Hey guys, I'm Strixin from Forgotten Adventures, and I would like to show you how you can easily make roads like these in a couple minutes with help of our textures and assets, just using your mouse. You don't need any graphics tablet or anything like that, or even any drawing experience at all. This tutorial is made for Photoshop, but it should be also compatible with any software that can open PSD files, like for example Clip Studio Paint, GIMP or Krita. I've compiled everything you are going to need into a zip archive that you can download on our Patreon page, link is in the description. After downloading both files, roads.zip1 and roads.zip2, just right click on the first one and extract to roads. You don't have to extract the second one because this is just one zip archive split into multiple files. You should only have one folder after extraction, like I have right here. Now you can open it, and now we can open the PSD file inside the folder and get started. Alright, first things first, a little bit of preparation. We are working with 1-inch grid, so let's make sure our grid in Photoshop is set up 2 inches as well. Go to Edit, Preferences, Guides, Grid and Slices. Here you can set up your grid color, up to you really, and grid line every 1 inches, subdivision 1, and click OK. Now if you show your grid, it should match perfectly with the grid that's pre-baked to the image. Next, we want to import new brushes that we'll be using. If you are using some other software than Photoshop, you can probably find the alternative brushes between what's already included in the software. Just pick some kind of textured brush with soft edges and you should be fine. So in Photoshop, select your brush tool, right click anywhere on the canvas, click on the cogwheel in top right corner and select import brushes. Depending on your Photoshop version, they might show up differently, but they should be last for brushes in the brush selection. Each of these have different opacity, flow and flow settings that you can see up here. They should change automatically depending on which brush you choose. But if you are on older Photoshop version, that might not work, so just make sure that you change those settings accordingly as we move along. As well as if you are using other software, just make sure your opacities and flow is set up properly. Alright, this PSD file is something like a base that you can build upon. It has 4 seamless ground textures built in as buttons, that you can see here. So you have 4 grass textures to choose from. This allows you to change your map size to whatever you like. You can go to Image, Canvas Size. Make sure your anchor is in one of the corners, so your grid stays centered and doesn't get offset. And now you can choose your map size. Default is 30 by 30 squares, but you can go bigger, for example like 60 by 40. Press OK. As you can see, our canvas got bigger, but there is a slight issue. Don't worry, you can fix this really easily. Just press Ctrl A on your keyboard. That will select your whole canvas. You can see this by a selection. Make sure your background color is black. Select road detail layer mask right here and press delete on your keyboard. Same thing with the gravel, just select it, press delete on your keyboard. Now you can deselect, Control D, and there it is. Your map is now 60 by 40 squares. Okay, let's just quickly jump into something smaller for this tutorial because we don't really need this map this big. So let's say something like 20 by 20. Okay, make sure anchor is in the corner. That's okay. Proceed, we don't really care about that. And there we have it. Alright, let's make some roads. So let's select your first new brush. It should have a size to 25, depending on what software you are using. And just try to match, like, as you can see, it's set up so it's basically like 2 squares wide. And you want to select your gravel layer mask. Make sure your foreground color is white. And just start painting whatever you want your roads to be. So I just quickly made sort of a T section with dual lane, double lane road. Now you can select your second brush, select your road detail layer mask, still with white color. Careful, this is opacity lower than 100 and flow is also lower, so make sure those match. You can also fiddle with them depending however you like them, and just go into the middle of the road and give it some detail, some texture, so it looks like it's been walked on. At any time doing this, or even the gravel one, you can just press X on your keyboard and your colors will swap. And with your foreground color as black, you can, instead of adding, you will start erasing, so like so. And you can fiddle with this as much as you like to add even more variation to your roads. And that's basically it. Now only thing left is to add some tracks if you want puddles, small rocks, maybe some grass around it. For tracks, you can just select tracks layer that's already pre-made. It's soft light with some lower opacity, and select one of those last 2 new brushes. The first one is slightly thicker one, and you can just start drawing wherever you want your tracks to go. And the second one is slightly different, just a little bit thinner version. There it is, pretty simple. They also work outside of roads, of course, so if you want some tracks on the grass, no problem. Puddles, rocks and grass are separate assets that you can just drag and drop into your map. You can just go to the grass folder right here, select whichever grass would fit and drag and drop it. Now we can move it, rotate it as needed. For example, right here, press enter, and just so you don't have a mess, just put it in your grass folder and now you can drag and drop more, and it will stay in that folder. They'll be automatically imported in that folder from now on, as you can see. You can also find more grass tiles in our forest asset pack that we released a couple weeks ago. I'll just speed it up as I throw in some more. Alright, there we go. Same process with rocks and puddles. And we are done. I hope you learned a thing or two, and if you like stuff like this, please consider checking out our Patreon and Discord, where we share our new ideas and what we are working on. Thanks, and see you next time.